happened was it went from being important to critical. It went from being a nice thing to have to being an absolutely necessary. Yeah, a must have. And so my phone's been off the hook, and people are like, hey, or they're like, hey, you know what? Now I have a little bit more time to focus on this. And so they're the hunger for that, grew, and then everything became digital. Think about how many people never were on a Zoom before.
Yeah.
Now you'd be hard pressed to find a real estate agent who doesn't go on Zoom.
Yeah. Listen, while you were saying that, I had to double check and make sure I was recording this.
Good.
Speaking of knowing how to use Zoom, it's recording.
All right. I saw that.
That's awesome.
Listen, we've made that mistake before, recorded a whole podcast and been like, uh-oh.
So, it's all good. It's all good.
Welcome to another episode of the Context of Contracts podcast. I am Bryan Lovell, always here with our amazing co-host, Mr. John Jones.
What's up, man?
Dude, how you doing?
Good, doing good.
Doing good?
Coming off a nice holiday weekend and a lot of fun stuff with the family.
You're 4 days from vacation.
That's right. That's why I'm smiling.
That's why you're smiling? All right. Well, listen, we have a special guest with us today, Stephanie Alfonso from Elm Street.
Yes. Hey, guys. How are you?
Stephanie?
Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So set this up a little bit. We got an opportunity to meet Stephanie at a real estate agent event in Jacksonville.
Yeah, a couple of months ago.
Months ago. And just kind of, this is one of the crazy things, just actually walking through the booths and getting an opportunity to speak to other vendors that are there. We ran across Stephanie and felt like it would be pretty beneficial to have her on a show. So Stephanie, tell us a little bit about yourself, like what your background is, and then we'll get in a little bit about what you and your company do.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background's actually kind of interesting. So currently, my role with Elm Street is I'm part of the educational team. And so by title, I'm a business development consultant. But what I do on the day-to-day is I go to MLSs and associations all over the country, and I train agents on all areas of online marketing, whether it's social media marketing, lead generation, increasing repeat and referral business, all areas of growth and success and development for agents. I teach it. Our classes are designed for, obviously the do's and don'ts and tips and tricks and all the things that agents should be doing. And then Elm Street, our products and services back up kind of everything that we're teaching, agents to do. So that's what I do. Background, backing it up. Now, I was raised by a real estate agent / mortgage lender.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. So went to school for marketing. Cool. Yeah. And then actually, I taught dance for over 15 years while my daughters were growing up. I have 4 daughters. 3 are in college. 1 is a senior in high school, or senior officially today. And so while they were growing up, that's what I did, and helped to run a dance studio for over a decade. And I loved it, and it was my passion. But as my kids got older, I really wanted to start getting back into the marketing realm, and came across an amazing company called Elm Street. And the rest is history. I'm like, I'm staying here forever.
That's awesome.
That's great. So how long have you been there?
So 5 years.
5 years,
summer,
okay.
I'll be with Elm Street.
Right, cool.
Yeah.
So I got to ask, you said, so part of your role is you kind of travel around the country doing educational seminars and things like that. Do you know how many states that you have taught in?
Oh goodness. Well, I have a Starbucks mug from every single state I travel to, so I don't think I have quite 50 mugs, but I would say close to every state. And actually, we're actually now in Canada. I haven't been there yet. It was through pandemic times that we started servicing Canada, but I would say close to every state. I'll tell you guys, for the first few years with Elm Street, I traveled 5-6 days a week.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, it was here, there, different city, 3 airplanes later. I'll come home for the weekend and then off to the races again. Yeah.
Wow. I think, how long has Elm Street been around?
So Elm Street, so something a little bit unique about Elm Street, we are kind of originated like a holding company. And so we would purchase best in class of real estate specific technology companies, putting everything together into one really mega company. So collectively, gosh, over 25 years.
Okay, wow.
But Elm Street, as Elm Street has been around about as long as I've been with them. So about 5 or 6 years, if that, as under the Elm Street umbrella.
Part of the reason I brought that up is, that explains it. Like anytime, I remember for me, when we started building business here, I felt like I was on the road every single week. When it's new, you're straight up on the hustle,
the grind,
in the grind all the time. So I can certainly appreciate that. I think you have me beat on the number of states that you visited. And here's the thing:
I would say so.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. One of the biggest challenges I had, coming out of the pandemic was, after traveling professionally for pretty much my entire professional life, even different industries, after 2 years being at home, I was kind of like, I like being at home.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of us felt that way.
So it was hard getting back. It was hard getting back out there and doing some traveling. So I get it. Oh yeah,
I'll tell you what. And it's true. You're used to it. Then when it was like everything stopped and you had no choice but to be home, I felt like it was life-changing for me, because even before in the dance world and running, that kind of business, it's nights and weekends. And it was just, for the first time in my career, I was home at 5 o'clock for dinner. I mean, it was just something so,
surprise.
So different.
Yeah.
Right.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, hey, congratulations on the growth and the success that you've had so far. So walk us through a little. I mean, obviously you have a unique perspective on this, because you just said that you had family in both the real estate and the mortgage space. I think that gives you a leg up, because you kind of probably helps you understand what does a real estate agent really need, and helps you kind of best position your products. But can you walk us through? It sounds like you have an entire suite of products, maybe not just one, but can you walk us through a little bit about what you guys are doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So Elm Street truly is, we have an end-to-end solution for everything when we're talking about an agent, a brokerage, and then of course on the lend side as well. Now, with my background, my mom is still an active lender. And it really comes down to, we're all in relationship building businesses, right? Where it's all about marketing and networking and, branding yourself. And, our systems and our solutions cover every aspect of that for both sides of the business. They're unique and different, but they're also not completely different from each other. So I know when I first started teaching social media boot camps and everything for agents, and I would have a bunch of lenders sometimes in the room, I mean, that was my question it was the $1 million question. Can you do this for lenders? Mm-hmm. Can you guys provide content and help with lead generation online? And, because lenders are out there struggling, going, gosh, especially over the past couple of years when everything's done online, how can I really continue to grow my business when I can't be with people in person? And so when we started to acquire other companies that, kind of filled in those gaps on the lend side, it really is taking our company even to that next level and expanding beyond just the real estate space.
Cool.
Nice.
So from would you call them services or products? Like what's the best terminology?
Both.
Okay.
We do everything from, I can tell you, especially from my perspective, and what I do on the daily is everything from creating IDX websites, social media marketing in the sense of creating content, bloggers. We create content for agents. Share it out to all of their social media, nurturing tools. Daily business tools such as CRM, email marketing, text campaign services, lead follow-up concierge type services. So again, it's product, it's software, but then it's also, the services. Our whole thing is we want to create an end-to-end solution for agents to be able to take more off their plate, right? Or NAR calls us the easy button or the done for you solution. Yeah. And so what's awesome though is that, when I teach my classes, that's the thing. People say, why do you teach everything that your products do? And I'm like, listen, if you come into one of my classes and that's your forte, a lot of people even send their marketing directors in. That's great. You're going to learn a ton of great stuff. But for the agent or now the lender who's like, gosh, this is important, this is critical in my business, not my forte, not where I want to spend my time. So I really need to delegate this out. And this is really something that I can kind of, I don't want to say set it and forget it, but kind of, basically get that system and process in place so they can get out there and be in person and write contracts and negotiate deals,
It's just, you guys are a point of leverage, right?
Yes.
So
all about leverage.
Yeah. So I love that. So essentially what you do is you will hold a workshop or a class. You'll teach folks how to do this for themselves, essentially. But then you have an end game solution like, hey, now that we've taught you how to do it, if you really want to do it at a high level, you can hire us to leverage that piece out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because a lot of people will also ask, we're promoted by most MLSs in the country. And that's something that impressed me coming on board with this is, wow, this company, MLSs promote these classes. Like, this is awesome. MLSs are very careful about who they're going to bring in and promote to their agents. We are 100% educational. And then, of course, like I said, our products, back all of that up. But the reality is most agents are not wanting to be behind their computer screen. They're struggling with lead generation. Right. Obviously, social media and all of that is so important when really growing your sphere and staying top of mind. But in a day and age where door knocking isn't the thing, how are agents capturing people online that are typing into Google, hey, what is my home worth in Fishhawk Ranch? Right. Tips for selling my home in Brandon, Florida. How are we capturing those people?
Yes.
And so we really want to help expand, even beyond just social media posts. How are we truly growing business?
Yeah.
Nice.
Would you say social media is probably like the primary resource most people are interested in or plugged into?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. If I'm teaching a class on social media, it's packed out, whether it's webinar, whether it's in person, it's packed out. Social media is the here, it's the now. It's ever changing and evolving and expanding. And of course, my classes are ever changing, evolving and expanding. But that's it. There's a gajillion classes out there for everything else, right?
Yeah.
They want to come and get some practical stuff to help them to be gurus online.
I think social media has always been an important part or an important arm in somebody's marketing plan. I think it became even more in 2020, when we had the COVID pandemic, right? Because now, whether you're an agent or you're a loan originator, one of the things that you're trying to do in any market is get visible, right? Well, now all of a sudden you were no longer visible, and the only way to be visible was to be visible social online, media. Right? Yep. And so I would imagine for you guys probably saw a pretty decent spike maybe in business at that time.
When it all happened and everybody has their own stories of when we realized we weren't going to be going out there and doing business like we used to, like everybody, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what's going to happen. I'm not going to be on the road anymore. What's going on? And what really did happen was I was working 14-hour days. What happened was agents, it went from being important to critical. It went from being a nice thing to have to being an absolutely necessary. A must-have. And so my phone's been off the hook, and people are like, hey, or they're like, hey, you know what? Now I have a little bit more time to focus on this. And so they're the hunger for that, grew, and then everything became digital. Think about how many people never were on a Zoom before.
Yeah.
Now you'd be hard pressed to find a real estate agent who doesn't go on Zoom.
Yeah. Listen, while you were saying that, I had to double check and make sure I was recording this.
Good.
Speaking of knowing how to use Zoom, it's recording.
All right. I saw that.
That's awesome.
Listen, we've made that mistake before, recorded a whole podcast and been like, uh-oh.
It's all good. It's all good.
So, Stephanie, can I put you on the spot here for a second?
Yeah.
Could you give us just like maybe 2 or 3 tips or tricks in the social media game?
Yes. Okay. This is what I love. Okay.
All right.
I'll tell you my pro tip number 1, and this isn't a mistake that agents are always making, is we'll talk about nurturing your audience with content, right? We always hear, provide lifestyle content on Facebook and this and that, just so you're not putting out real estate info all the time, right? Mm-hmm. And agents will say to me, oh, yeah, Steph, I post content all the time to my Facebook. As a matter of fact, I even pay a company to post content for me, or my broker pays a company to post content for me. I say, all right, cool, go to check it out. And I go to their Facebook page and I start scrolling through, and sure enough, they have some great content. But when I look to see where all these articles are from, Inman News, Huffington Post, Back at You Media, Keeping Current Matters, Realtor.com, Zillow. I mean, if I were to click on any of those articles, where's it going to take me?
Away from the platform that it's intended for. Yep.
That's right, to them. So you're driving traffic away from you, building their brand, building their SEO, doing nothing for yourself, right? So what I always tell agents is, listen, here's a pro tip. Everything that you are posting to your Facebook should be self-branded, meaning it comes from you, from your domain, from your blog, right? So that if I were to click on it, it's going to take me back to you, right? To your website where there's lead capture, building your brand, driving traffic to your domain.
Like it.
So, right, so important. People don't realize it. I always say we want to create a gated experience online, so that whether I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, I want there to be only one exit off those highways, and it's your business.
Okay.
Because traffic to your website brings organic lead generation.
Okay.
So that's, I would say, one of the first things that I'll say is just having it. Listen, if an agent wants to use an article from another source, put it on a blog. Obviously you have to make sure everything's branded and sourced appropriately. Hey, everyone, check out this article. I thought it was so relevant here in the Tampa Bay area. Check it out.
Yeah.
Then share it to Facebook, right?
So let me, before you get into the next one, I got a question. So personal page, business page.
Business page. 100%. Guys, if you are doing business from your personal page, you can get thrown into Facebook jail. And it's a real place.
Don't want to go there. Yeah.
Don't want to go there. They'll suspend your account. Got to originate everything from business page. You can share it to your personal, but originate on your business page.
Okay. So your recommendation is you put your content on your business page and then share it over to your personal page.
Right. And even beyond that, what I recommend is starting all content from a blog platform, then share it to Facebook so that it's self-branded.
Okay. So your personal blog.
Yep.
Okay. All right, cool.
Share it so that everything on your Facebook page.
We're going to step up our game.
Yeah.
I can help you guys. I can help you guys.
I was going to say, I believe where Stephanie's about to go with this is, hey, the reason you guys don't do this now is because you don't have the time. So let us help you with that part, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. By the time someone's done with my class, they're like, "Woo, that was a great class, man. That was so much good information. I have no time to do all of this. I need you."
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and then how about number of times a day you should be posting content, jab, hook, with what your business content is as far as organic content. And I guess let's segue right into like boosted posts, paid advertising. Yeah. I mean, it seems like that's the direction the platforms want us to go in, right? To be seen.
Well, I think it's certainly the direction. I mean, Facebook makes money off of boosted posts and ads, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I kind of have a lot to say about that. Couple things. You're totally right? We're all about the give to get model, right? You don't want to just be like new listing, open house, buy with me, sell with me, I love your referrals, new listing. you want to make sure you're providing value so that people are engaged and interested in your content. So I believe in the 80-20 rule. 80% you want to provide value to your audience. Okay. And then sprinkle in 20% of business related information, right? I want your audience to stay engaged with you with, lifestyle content like, travel, health and wellness, that famous family recipe. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff people are liking and sharing all the time. Because the majority of people that follow you on Facebook are not interested in real estate right now.
Yeah, true.
Of course, we want them to be, and when they are, we'll be ready and top of mind. But people aren't going to be interested if all you're posting is just business-related content.
Yeah. Quickest way to get blocked and not know it. I mean, that's I think that's the fear too, right? If you continually do that, right, you more and more of your friends, unbeknownst to you, will just start blocking.
Listen, I'm just thinking of, I have a business Facebook page as well, and by the way, I don't manage it. It's managed by a member of our marketing team, which means 100% of the content on there
comes from them.
It's 100% business. If you're following that business page of mine, there's nothing on there that's relative to Bryan Lovell. It's all whatever we're bragging about at the time. Right. Or there's probably some content on there that's value added pieces, probably more directed towards realtors than it is consumers. But again, I'm just thinking about my own timeline. That's probably just full of business.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, I always encourage agents, people expect you to be the community expert, right? I mean, that's what they expect you to be. So I always say, provide, content that's relevant to your area. What's going on the weekend? What's great summer camps for kids in your area? Connect with local businesses. Maybe highlight a business of the month. Go to that restaurant owner. You don't even have to write the own article. Hey, restaurant owner, you want to give me a couple paragraphs on your business? I'd love to feature you on my real estate blog. Yeah. There's an agent in our area. She's always posting about what's going on in the local high school. Anything that goes on in the local high school, she blogs about it. Parent-teacher conferences, SAT stuff, sporting events, school dances, anything, you name it, she puts it on her real estate blog. Parents, teachers, they refer to her blog before they go to the school's website.
Yeah, because she became the resident expert about the local school.
Yeah. So I tell agents, listen, what are you an expert in? What is there a way, Zig Ziglar said it best, people do business with people they like, know, and trust. How can you connect with people in a way that is beyond real estate, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how I have another client in South Florida. She and her husband are always posting about ballroom dancing. They're like competitive ballroom dancers. Where do you think most of their business comes from?
Ballroom dancing.
Yeah.
That's right. Other ballroom dancers, So it's really nice. And it's hard sometimes when you're new and you're really trying to brand yourself as that real estate professional. But eventually you kind of get into that rhythm when you're just kind of thinking about, okay, I need a plan. I want to have this kind of real estate content, but how can I really start connecting with people in a way that's personal to me?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thanks for going a little deeper. So we derailed you, I think, a little bit.
We got through number one.
What you got next for us?